is receiving it, may they receive revelations, wisdom, knowledge, understanding. Let them hear your voice, Lord. Let them create their roadmaps and navigate their pathways with understanding and your leadership and guidance, Lord. We dedicate this time to you. Said where two or more are gathered, you are amidst them. So we thank you so much for this time. And we barricade our conversations in the blood of Jesus and the fire of the Holy Spirit. Let your will be done. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. So let's wait for others to join us. Otherwise, good to see you. Hi, Kezi. You were there praying also. Good to see you. Hello, how are you, John? Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Okay, so, no, we didn't have an assignment. I was going to say that I left with an assignment. Then I remembered that we did not have an assignment. We only had, yes, we did, but it didn't require you coming here. So let me share the screen and we start immediately. Casey, since it's already 12:30, hey, it's you, see, man. You're making us call you John. I think it's somebody new. How dare you? Okay, I see you. Hello, Juliet. How are you? Good to see you. I indeed go out fooling us. Joan, Sim, Joan. She's called Sim in TikTok. She's called Joan on YouTube. But she also has a YouTube Sim. So, Sim, Joan, okay, extra Sim. So, how are you guys? Have you been? Are you all fine? Good to see you again, as always, by the way. I'm always happy to see you. And I hope everything is going on well. Okay, so today's lesson. And today, by the way, is the last lesson for this particular. Hello, how are you? It's the last lesson for this particular series. We're going to start a new series on Monday because tomorrow is Friday, right? Wait a minute, tomorrow is Thursday. We'll have a Q&A first before we get into a new series, okay? So prepare for the Q&A. But for today, we're going to continue Thrown Out, Found by Grace. Let me get, before I even start explaining what that means, let me get the real picture. And I like the message version because in terms of interpretation, I like the message version because it gives you a very clear, like a story kind of story. No, you're not late, Mia. We just started. I started a bit late because I tried to log in on the one that I had scheduled and it didn't work. So we are here. Don't worry. We just started. Let me read the particular scripture that matches this lesson today so that we can understand very clearly where it's coming from. Okay. Where did it start from? 35. So you remember yesterday we left when the blind man had been thrown out in the street after they were like, you dirty, then get out. They threw him out on the street, right? So this time around, after they threw him on the street, hear what happened. Before I start. In verse 35, and it's the last part. Jesus heard that they had thrown him out and went and found him. He heard that they had thrown him out and went and found him. There's a story in him being found. So he asked him, do you believe in the Son of Man? The man said, point him out to me. Point him out to me, sir, so that I can believe in him. Jesus said, you're looking right at him. Don't you recognize my voice? Master, I believe, the man said, and worshipped him. Jesus then said, I came into the world to bring everything into the clear light of day, making all the distinctions clear, so that those who have never seen will see, and those who have made a great pretense of seeing will be exposed as blind. Some Pharisees overheard him and said, Does that mean you're calling us blind? Jesus said, if you are really blind, you would be blameless. But since you claim to see everything so well, you're accountable for every fault and every failure. Since you claim to see everything, you're accountable for every fault and every failure. So, now that you've understood the background or the context where this lesson is coming from, thrown out, found by grace. Grace, are you seeing your name here? What happens when rejection becomes the doorway to revelation? Do you remember the lady? It was grief. She had lost her husband. What happened? It was the doorway to inheritance. This time now we're dealing with a blind man. He came in blind. He left when he could see. It was the doorway to purpose for him. You know, he got sight. So definitely he managed to fulfill exactly why he was created, do the things that he was supposed to be doing, though not highlighted. But at least we know that he got to see for a purpose, right? So, and it's very clear that Jesus said, "I came into the world to bring everything into the clear light of day, making all the distinctions clear." So when you look here, Jesus had that they had thrown him out. He went and found him. Do you believe in the Son of Man? He asked him. Master, I believe. Okay? Then he worshipped him. Then he came, then it's revealed that he came to bring light to those who are truly weak. Right? So now, what is the blueprint connection of the blind man's story or case study? We can see that he first encountered, okay? And after the encounter that he had, what happened next? Let me get to my notes. These ones are very small for me. I can't see them properly. What happened? Jesus saw him. When it came to the exposure, his blindness was revealed. It came to the revelation, he received instructions, or instructions were released. Responsibility, he accepted the instruction. The response, he went and washed. The refinement, transformation occurred. What was the purpose? His sight was restored. The evidence, others could see the change. The transition, his transformation was questioned. And when it came to conviction, which was yesterday, I think, yeah, he remained firm in the truth. And when it came to positioning, his testimony became a tool for others. Now, today, the last lesson. He was found when he was thrown out. Because remember, he was blind, so everybody was so used to him in his blindness, in his ignorance, in his foolishness, in his naiveness. So the ones who could play with his naiveness played with it. The ones who could do this and that enjoyed. Now he's shifted from all that, he's entered into another dispensation. He can see. What happens when he came back to the people that he once knew? They threw him out. And then what happened? Jesus came and found him and said, "Come, let's go." And they entered into a deeper relationship. The reason as to why I give you this whole flow is I'm trying to show you, as you go through your transformation process, I need you to have hope that in the event that you are at the level of, let's say, refinement, when transformation is occurring, remember, the blind man always, there's a point when he was transitioning, there's a point when there was positioning, eh? So don't give up and stop at refinement. Don't give up and stop at evidence. Don't announce yourself very quickly during that transition. Wait. You may give birth to a premature baby at the transition level. Wait until you get to the last level, whether it's relationship or beyond. Okay? So, in this case, when they threw him out, what truth do we have here? What others reject, God can redeem. Rejection is not the end of your story. It may be the beginning of your revelation. So embrace it and go and say, I'm here. Receive it the way you received the blind man. And let's start this journey of building systems and structures around every area of my life, overcoming all the obstacles that have hindered me from flourishing in my true identity. And then help me to step into my true leadership authority, okay, so that I can ensure continuity, sustainability of this leadership or the stewardship or the assignment that you have given me. And then I'm able to help so many other people who have gone through the same kind of problems. And then I'll also nurture their innate abilities by telling them about this and that, helping them, guiding them, directing them, hmm? Doing exactly what I have received. Okay? Now, problems are going to be solved from them because what I'm doing is I'm nurturing problem solvers from the same people who are experiencing problems. Just like I was also found experiencing this problem, I didn't even imagine that this problem would actually be a solution for so many other people. It could be something like, you see how AI was created? Somebody saw a problem and created AI. So that's exactly what we are talking about. We are creating problem solvers, a cycle that never comes to an end. The problem solvers then, when they get to their point, they also create others like that. The cycle never comes to an end. So, a simple question: have you been seeking God's guidance before making decisions, or only after things go waywire? Is when you come. This problem. You want to come when you have issues. Let's start together so that when the problem comes, solve it together. Even when the problems come, you'll be like, I'm not alone. I have a master strategist. So whatever it is that I'm going through now, I'm not alone. I'm not going to die in this movie alone. Get my point? So I want you to, before we even go to call to action, okay? Because I don't want us to talk about the call to action before we finish the class. Otherwise, hello, how are you? Bironji. Now, good to see you all. Thank you so much again for joining, and we begin again our class. Have you understood what this is all about? Today is our last lesson, lesson 9. Okay? And now we want to understand, what does it mean to be thrown out and found? What does it mean when rejection leads to revelation? Please tell me, have you ever felt rejected, overlooked, misunderstood, or pushed aside because of who you are or who you're becoming? I need answers from you. Let's make it interactive. Have you ever been rejected, overlooked, misunderstood, or pushed aside because of who you are becoming? Or because of who you are? Share. Yes, please. That's good. Anybody else? Anybody else? Thank you, Juliet. Anybody else? Thank you, Grace. Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Anybody else? Okay. Since at least two of you have answered, another question. What if this very rejection that you experienced was not the end of your story? What if it wasn't the end of your story, but the beginning of a deeper encounter? You remember the woman with the oil, her grief when they were taking away her sons. That wasn't the end of the story, right? Now we're looking at the blind man. His inability to see wasn't the end of the story, was it? But it was the beginning of a deeper revelation. So what challenges are you experiencing right now? What if those challenges are the beginning of a deeper revelation from God? You're rejected by a man. Okay? It could have been a redirection as well, not so? So you can see the image that I have given you. Rejection can happen in very many different ways. It can be at a job, they throw you out. It can be in your family, you're cast out, or you're an outcast, or seen as an outcast. It can be in your marriage. Hmm? It can be amongst your relationships or friends. It can be self-rejection. When you look at the mirror, you don't like who you see, so you reject yourself. And so many others probably I may not really think about right now. But I want you to look at the word rejection as broad. It doesn't necessarily have to be you as a person. Your ideas may be rejected in a group of people where we are having a discussion and it's just not accepted, but it may not be that it's not a bad idea, but maybe you're discussing something that they're not yet at your level, or you're not prepared very well to present it, for a lack of better words. I don't want to insult. You understand? So rejection can happen in so many different ways. It could be that God is trying to get you out of a particular community or kind of people, and you're still trying to fix yourself there. You're still trying to fit in, and then you kind of like shunned off. Then you feel the rejection. It's not that. It could be for your own protection. Okay. So Juliet, you say it gave you a way forward. That's beautiful. Back in 2023, I was rejected in a job with no notice. I didn't know God was giving me a job paying twice that job. Perfectly beautiful. Okay, so let's look at the blind man's journey. After he healed, questioned, criticized, you saw all throughout the verses as went from verse 1, right? Then investigated, then eventually cast out. What happened? Something very remarkable. Jesus is what happened to this man. He was thrown out, and then Jesus came back again. Ah, they've thrown out. Ah, do you recognize my voice? The same man who had once been blind was now experiencing something greater than just the physical sight. He now received a relationship with someone who was going to guide him, someone who was going to give him instructions, someone who was going to um, correct him, someone who's going to nurture him, someone who's going to give him solutions to so many different problems. And that is spiritual sight. Only God can give you spiritual sight. When he found him, he asked him, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" He replied, point him out to me, so that I can believe in him. He said, "You're looking at him, I'm here. You're looking at him. Don't you remember my voice? You're the one who healed me." That was the journey that he just never imagined would come from, like the problems you've been experiencing. You've been rejected, right? Or you've experienced financial instabilities, or you've been given so many challenges that you're experiencing. You've been experiencing anger issues, maybe bitterness, maybe this and that. You've been experiencing lots and lots and lots of problems. Yeah? But then you don't want to sit with your problem. I've said at the end of the verse, it says, if you are really blind, you would be blameless. But since you claim to see everything so well, you don't need help, right? You're accountable for every fault and failure. In other words, don't come to me when it fails, because you seem to think you know. So don't come to me when it fails. But this man was like, I'm blind. Then he was healed. He was given instructions. He followed. He went and washed his eyes in Siloam. After he went, and then he was thrown out again. Then he was welcomed. Now, if again he was welcomed after being thrown out, he didn't open up his arms to say, "Okay, I'm here again," he would have remained stuck there. I want you to show you something. In the beginning, when he was blind, it was like a baby born. That was the discovery stage, the discovery. It's like you when you're born, you discovered you're out of your mother's womb, you're born. It was at this stage when he was thrown out, is what I call rediscovery. At the beginning, it was discovery. Now it was rediscovery. And that's the journey of our lives. We get to know who we are when we are born. My name is Jacinta, and I am like this. You describe yourself. You can describe yourself and talk about yourself very well. I'm very good at this. I studied this. Okay, thank you very much. At some point in life, there's a turnaround of events, especially when you're being called to evolve from this whole description that you've just given. From the time you're born up to the time when the awakening comes to you. Meanwhile, no one asks for an awakening. The awakening will come when it's time for you to awaken. The awakening can come to you when you're 6 years old. The awakening can come to you when you're 12. The awakening can come to you when you're 30. The awakening can come to you when you're 50. You don't call for it. That's why I cannot say, hey, can I? No. You have to be awakened. You have to be awakened. Something shifts and everything just gets disrupted in your life. Why? Because you are being called to evolve, to get to another level. This chapter of your life is done. When that awakening happens in your life, when things start getting disrupted, everybody just rejects you, then you know that a season of your life is changing. Now you're going to rediscover who you are. And that's the point that this man was at. The end. He began blind, totally not knowing anything. Then he goes out. Now imagine this is just a chapter, okay? But imagine midway the chapter, he has to go out probably for 30 years. And then he's thrown out again because he's gone through stride. The land has rejected him. The people have rejected him. Everybody, things have just come. Now let me show you something else. Rediscovery. Because now you're mature enough to eat meat. The other time when I just gave you sight, you were drinking milk. Are you drinking milk? Yes. Now come on, start eating meat. That's why in the case study before, the widow with the oil, some lessons were a bit tough because I was giving you meat. Like towards the end, they were a bit tough. This one was a bit simple, but the other one was a bit tough towards the end. Like lesson 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, right? They were a bit tough, if you remember very well. Because now you are eating meat. In the beginning, you drink milk. But now when it's time for you to build a relationship, you're going to have to eat meat. Imagine you've grown and you've been so independent. You've been so dependent on so many things like your strength, your mind, and now you have to completely be like aloof. That's what happens at this stage. So he received sight, and now he had to come back to the rediscovery when he was thrown out, and that relationship is going to lead to something else. As we go on, we will have a very clear understanding of what I mean. Are we together? So, when I say the principle of revelation, we all seek solutions, we look for them here and there, go to this place of work, you go to this business, you go to this group of people, you connect to this with this community, you seek for solutions left, right, and center. Meanwhile, the person you ignore is you. And you, there are solutions inside you. Many people seek solutions. Few seek the one behind the solution. Sometimes you need to sit down and ask God, what did you put in me? Then he tells you, do you want to know? Yes. Then he takes you on a journey. In that journey, every place he's going to take you to has what you need to requires your obedience to follow. Because in that place where he's taking you, if you go and you dishonor, you may dishonor the one who's supposed to give, open the mouth and speak something. Then you dishonor him. The revelation is not going to come to the person. He doesn't refuse, but it doesn't come. They don't drop it on him. So when you're going through this transformation process, I want you to be very careful. Because your keys, that are opening, the doors that you're opening, they're in different places. You understand? Meanwhile, even in the pits, don't despise anything. Don't be like, God cannot what? Who said this is earth? He can take you to that dirty place. There's an answer there. There's someone who is behind a solution. You may not see, but he's the one who has a solution to that problem in that specific time. So you see, I will keep referring to this case study that we are having and to what happens in real life. Even this one was hard at the beginning. Oh, it was. I didn't realize. Thank you, Juliet. I didn't realize that it was hard in the beginning. Yeah, case studies get harder. So I don't know what case study we're going to have next, but I want to give you as many case studies as possible so that it can help you in your journey as you go on. Okay? So the blind man first received healing. Okay? Then he received understanding. Yeah? Then he received revelation. Healing, understanding, revelation. What happens with transformation? It reaches its highest purpose when it leads us back to the one who transformed us. He received healing. Then he started understanding, why was I blind? Oh my God, these are opportunities. Oh my God. And then he started creating things, doing whatever happened after. Started doing things. After that understanding and doing all the creations, then he starts getting revelations. A lot of what was happening during the understanding and revelations. Windows were open, doors were open, opportunities came, challenges came, we overcame. Now, it is at its highest peak, this whole journey, when it leads you back to the one who gave you that ability to go through that journey. If you don't open up your arms for the one who got you to this point where you are at right now, even in your worst state, you've probably done the worst things in life, the worst wicked things in life, but you're canceling yourself out. What you need to do is just come back, open your arms, and say, I surrender, I give up, I made these mistakes. Just accept. It's okay to accept. You see, the goal for him was not just his physical eyes to be restored. The goal was a relationship. And it's in this relationship, you see how you have a husband or a wife or a best friend, whatever it is. And you have this relationship where, like, every time you have challenges, you go to this person. Or every time you're so happy, you go to this person. Or you have something like a project, now we need to work on this one, you go to this person. Like that. You see that relationship. That's the same relationship we're talking about. You don't have to suffer in life. Yeah, Grace, remind them. They're just there with 2 likes. So, do you now understand that? When rejection becomes redirection, remember the religious leaders threw him out. But what they intended as rejection became divine redirection. That very place where that man was rejected was the place that Jesus found him. First of all, he was blind on the streets. Then he was healed. Then whatever happened. Then he was thrown out in the same place. Back to the streets. Go back to the streets. What am I trying to tell you here? Sometimes God allows closed doors to close because He is leading you into a deeper encounter with Him. And that is the rediscovery. When you were born, you went, yeah, yeah, yeah. Then you went through all those milestones and everything. You learned this, you learned that. You picked up all the mannerisms, all the belief systems, all. Now it's time for us to talk about mature things. Baby girl, wake up, baby boy, wake up. Yes, let's have a relationship. And I'm going to show you who you are. And I'm going to show you why I created you. And I'm going to show you what exactly I put in you. And I'm going to lead you and guide you and correct you and whoop you when I have to whoop you. But you're going to have to accept me to do that. Whatever decision you make without me, carry those consequences. Don't cry, okay? But if we do things together, I will be the one, there will be no consequences because we're doing things together. And that is at the rediscovery. So everybody must go through a life whereby, you know, you're finding out how things are, you're doing things in your own understanding, because you need to go through that also. You need to go through that. If you don't go through that, if you don't make mistakes, that's why it is naive for anyone to say, I'm perfect, I don't make mistakes. That's very naive. If you do not make mistakes, then what are we talking about? We're not on the same page. Then you're not a provider of solutions. Then you need to go elsewhere. But if you're the kind of person who gets these challenges, then probably makes these mistakes, there's so many mistakes. You're the best person. Because whoever has failed at something actually has overcome that. If you do, and then you come up with that, whatever you have overcome, that means you're a solution to that problem. You understand? So not every rejection is a setback, it's a redirection. And these rejections are like invitations into greater clarity. Like now we're in this class, every single day you come faithfully, you're receiving greater clarity, greater purpose, you're receiving another level of intimacy with God. And He's showing you how things that you never even imagined you would do. And you're seeing them naturally happen because of simple things like obedience. Because that's what is required, like faith. Here, you don't bring your money in these conversations. It doesn't work here. No. Here we're talking about maturity, other conversations, not money, not. Yesterday, what did I tell you? And all the other things will be what? Added to you. Okay? So if you've been feeling rejected and all, it's okay. It happens. And don't feel bad about it. Okay? So, what do I mean by spiritual blindness? This man was physically blind, but the ultimate lesson that we learn from his case study is we are here, we are seeing, but we may actually be spiritually blind. So what does it mean to be spiritually blind versus sight? You're able to see spiritually. There's a very huge distinction when you know that you are blind and when you think that you can see. You thought I was going to talk about this physical eye then? Gotcha. There's a very huge distinction when you think you know. You think you know. You will be surprised about the root cause of why you've been oppressed and tormented for a very long time or for all your life. Because you think you know. And I want to give you the distinction between somebody who thinks they know and somebody who knows they are blind. And they need someone to help them see what they don't see. The blind man admitted his need. He said, help me, I can't see. Even when he was thrown out. When Jesus came back, he didn't reject him. So you chill me. Having my problems. He said, yeah, I believe, take me to him. Then he said, don't you recognize my voice? So when he admitted the need, and then said, take me to him, and then he said, I'm the one who healed you. Come and I show you what you need to do. You've been thrown out, eh? You come. Now let's look at the ones who said that for them. Do you want to say, because they asked, they overheard him telling the blind man, and then they said, does that mean you're calling? Does that mean you're calling us blind? With so much anger. They claimed they needed nothing. Now one received revelation and one remained blind. You seeing the difference? One received revelation, one remained blind. There are two people we're all seeing. We ask us, what do you see? Then me, I say, I see those pipes, I see this building. Then for you, you say, I think you start creating things with your mind. And you see these are two different heads looking at the same thing, creating differently. Same example here. Not exactly the same, but think about it. One received revelation, another one remained blind because they think they can see. What is happening here? Humility opens doors to transformation. Pride keeps that door closed. Don't be mistaken, I'm not talking about false humility. Humility is being instructed and you obey. Humility is, can you do the assessment? And you come to class and I ask, who did the assessment? And 3 people answer and 5 don't. But you want transformation. And you can't even do the smallest thing. Disobedience and rebellion. And don't blame Satan here. No, it is you. But one is humble enough to say, let me take off 10 minutes and do this assignment. It is for you. It is not for me. We are all creating our roadmaps. At the end of the journey, then you start those things of being jealous of the other, and because now you see Grace has been doing it. Where were you when she was doing assessments every day? And you were coming every day to class, but you were not participating, but you were listening. But now doors have started opening for this one, and for you, we've left you here. That is not what I want. But I'm a teacher, so I have to whoop you a bit. Humility is what is going to keep those doors to transformation open. It's going to open those doors. But every time you do not, they tell you as simple as go to that building. I fear. That is false humility. You fear what? Who is going to beat you there? You go and see if there's anything that's going to happen. You say, oh, let me go. If they beat me, let me just go. Just go. If you fear there, just go. You'll be surprised with the case. Yeah, how can I help you? Please have a seat. Because you've been instructed. So the one who has sent you has already gone there before you. Be obedient. Simple. The moment we think we already know everything is often the moment we stop learning what God wants to teach us. As simple as that. So what is the human blueprint connection? You've seen the encounter, right? And then the blindness is revealed. For this case, it was blindness. For your case, you know exactly what is being exposed every time you have the encounters. I've told you to go through that process each and every day. Go and sit down and do a summary of who you've encountered, what is exposed, like that. And the revelation instructions were released. Then what happened? He accepted the instruction. He went and washed. Transformation occurred. His sight was restored. Others could see the change. His transformation was questioned. You remember, we talked about that. But he remained firm in what he knew to be true. That was in the conviction phase. And what did that do for him? It positioned him to become a tool that could help other people. And then he encountered the one behind his whole transformation. And what happened? Identity, alignment, purpose. Faith became fully connected. This class is not going to be very long because it's the last one. So, before I even go to the questions, good afternoon, Brenda. You're a bit late today. What happened? Sorry, sorry, but good to see you. Either way, we always look forward to seeing you, my dear. Let's come to the reflection questions. Tell me, have you allowed rejection to push you away from God or draw you closer to Him? Share with me. What have you allowed? What have you allowed? Have you allowed rejection to push you away from God or draw closer to Him? For example, maybe a business opportunity fails, but it pushed you into prayer and deeper dependence on God. And then in the deeper prayer and dependence on God, He starts giving you instructions, even though you don't understand what it's. You don't understand, but before you know it, you now understand why it failed, what exactly the problem was, because you start getting revelations, you're having dependency on a higher authority than yourself. You can't see everything. You need somebody else to throw the torch, the light in that particular area of darkness and reveal to you things in the dark, though He is light. Daniel 2:22. So you can answer that question in private times because this one needs some reflection, okay? What area of your life still needs spiritual sight? What area of your life still needs spiritual sight? Not just the physical one where you can just visibly see everything. The car is moving, but you don't see what is behind there. You understand what I mean? You may see opportunities clearly, but still struggle to see your true value and identity. So if you see opportunities clearly, but you don't see yourself, it doesn't help you because you're going to exhaust yourself externally and internally you're going to be bleeding. And before you know it, you're burning out. Because you're just performing. But when you get to see your true value, the innate you, your innate abilities, values, that essence, what differentiates you from everybody else. And then you get to know what is my identity, who am I? Then you align who you are with what you're doing. So even your choices, there may be 5 opportunities, but none of them may be aligned with who you are and your visions. They may actually, your vision, they may be like a counterfeit, and they're like 5, but there may be like a counterfeit that comes before the real one. The real one is there. Or in the 5, one of them could be the real one, and the 4 are not. Now the 4 looks so nice, but the one that's the real just doesn't. Will you be able to discern that completely? Or do you have to get down on your knees and ask, please show me, open my eyes to see everything behind these 5 contracts? Oh, why? You mean the last question? Can you see now? Is that okay? That's okay, right? It's okay. Okay. So question 3. Are you more focused on God's gifts or on God Himself? Hmm. Do you seek success, for example? Do you seek healing, provision without cultivating our relationship with the provider. Let me tell you something. The reason as to why I have been telling you to go through this transformation and then here for your self instructions to do this and that and that and that. I don't want you to wake up in the morning and just open up a YouTube page and then you start talking when you don't have instructions. Brenda clearly told us yesterday content creation. So you see, if she was so much in a hurry to perform, she would go and perform without the instruction to do what she's doing. And then she would be stuck. And then what would she do? She starts going and copying and pasting everybody else's. Your authenticity, you're killing it. But if you want to be authentic, don't copy and paste other people's format, style. Go and sit down with your blueprint. Get your pen and paper and start creating your roadmap. Ask, where do I get the content from? Give me the source that doesn't run. I want your source, not mine. And then you'll never ask that question ever again. And you will never copy and paste anybody's style. And you will be authentically you. And then after, you will even know when to go live and when not to go live. You won't just go. I'm telling you, when I was told you need to go and on what? On TikTok. I refused for a long. I took some good months. I said, no, can't go live. No, I can only teach people here one on one. But even getting to the one on one was a challenge. Now I'm being told to go. I said no, and you saw what was there. It is real slicing your neck. I was like, and it's not only physical slicing; it is also spiritual ideas. So you have to do things when you have precision. What do I mean? Clear instructions. Because you can go to a platform and that will be the end of your anointing. Get the blueprint. I repeat it. Get the blueprint. Your blueprint. Don't copy paste. Go through the process. Don't cut short corners. You will carry burdens you never ever imagined you could carry. You'll get attacks that are not yours because you're copying and pasting. You do not know what that person has carried in the process for you to copy and paste what they are doing. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about people. I see people copying people and I say, yeah, but this is the person I follow, and this one looks like they're copying. Yeah. Now, this one is authentic because you can know that this one is authentic. They went through the process to receive what they are doing. And then for you just come and pay all the demons that she had to overcome are going to come directing themselves to you. And they're going to ask you, who gives you the right to do that? Did you pass through our office? Did you pass through this gate? Then they whoop you properly. Then you wake up and you're sick, you're what, things are. Please. That's why when you come here and I ask you the questions, I want you to answer them yourselves. Then go through step by step. Go and ask, what do I do at this? Ask for yourself. It is your pathway. It is your roadmap. It is your blueprint. It is your purpose. It is your identity, your essence, your virtues, your talents, your gifting, your star, your destiny, your life, your journey. And you are the one who's going to give accountability with nobody else, yourself. So if you've been lazy, today I'm going to wake you up because the next series, I want when you're seated up straight like this. Yes. You forgive me. But I just want you to wake up if you've been sleeping, okay? So I hope you're focused on seeking God and not just the gifts He gives you. Because if you're going to focus on the gifts that he's giving you and you think that that gift, now I can do this, now I can do this, now I can write. Hey, you need to have fuel. You remember yesterday I talked about the fuel that maintains that writing, okay? You need to have the fuel. So follow the right procedures. You need to have fuel for whatever you're doing. That is called protecting what your gifting, your talents, your vision, protecting what your blueprint. There has to be a mechanism of protection. When I tell you, we are looking at all aspects of life. When we're building systems and structures, we're building financially, relationally, mentally, spiritually. What is the foundation of what you're doing? Who is the hedge of fire around it? Hmm? So focus on the right things. In Him, not the gifts. So, what rejection in your life might actually be divine redirection? What rejection in your life might actually be divine redirection? Is it losing a job that ultimately led to your one true calling? Someone here left the other business. She even said goodbye properly. Now she's running her business. Now she's here in class, learning how she's going to build, what is going to fuel that business, and even open another one, and another one, and another one, but one fueling station. That's what you're here to do. That's what you're here to do. Because this is work, this is not a job. But this work we are doing is fuel, and it's just going to help so many other people. Okay? So, where have you been relying on your own understanding instead of seeking God's direction? Where have you been relying on your own understanding instead of seeking God's direction? For example, you make decisions based on logic while ignoring prayer, you ignore discernment, you ignore uh, like, I want to get some. You ignore. Sometimes you need silence before you make a decision. You need some silence. You need to hear for yourself. What am I not seeing? Show me. So you need to keep quiet and listen. Not so. So where have you been relying on your own understanding instead of seeking God's direction? Before I go to the sixth question, can somebody say something? You're too quiet. Hmm. Anything? Grace, what is happening there? You're there. What is happening? That's what I want to know. Casey, what is happening? Hmm? You're reflecting? Brenda, is this helping? Hmm? So, in your business, okay, good. Now that you know, what has God revealed about Himself through your transformation journey? What has God revealed about Himself through your transformation journey? For example, have you discovered His faithfulness during a season where you thought everything was falling apart? And then you realize, in actual sense, things were not falling apart. In actual sense, things were falling in place. The old was getting out and the new was being ushered in. So the old had to close down so that the new can be ushered in. And then you get a revelation of, this is what God can actually do. And the different steps in your life, you need to identify where God has revealed Himself through your transformation journey if you have actually been depending on Him. Not so? Okay. Now that you understand that very well, when you look at, as I conclude, okay, the blind man's greatest miracle was not that he received sight. And your greatest miracle, it won't be that, okay, I came in with a lot of trauma, now I am free, I don't have trauma. I came in when I used to have a lot of anger, now I'm at peace, I don't have anger. I came in with, that is not where it stops. His greatest miracle was the encounter he had with the one who gave him the sight. The moment you focus on what you have received, then you have become like a trader. You have to, yes, you've received this, thank you very much. Now let's, why am I saying that? You need to build a relationship. The reason as to why we are having a lot of transactional relationships, and let me tell you something about transactional relationships. The reason as to why we find ourselves in transactional relationships is because of what we have been subjected to. When you are overly betrayed and you go through this and that, it somehow breaks you, right? And when it breaks you, you lose that sense of, I think, like belonging or like relationship. Because each and every time you try, things just don't work. So you're like, you keep that side in a box. You don't let it out. Because you've lost trust, you've been broken, you know. But then you see, you encounter somebody like the blind man did and tells you, let me show you how to get healthy relationships. Allow me to direct you, allow me to show you who is healthy and who isn't healthy. Now, the problem is the willingness, or when you're not willing to go through the process to see the right relationships. Because it also requires a process. The greatest miracle you will ever have is encountering the person behind what you're doing. If, for example, you have a healthy relationship with somebody or relationships with some set of people, yeah, you're not going to focus so much on the things that happen between the two of you or the three of you, the things that transpire. You focus more on you, the two of you, like, is everything okay? Like, there's empathy here. It's not just, you're coming to the shop, you're buying something, you're very welcome. Have you seen that kind of thing? You're very welcome. Yeah, thank you for coming. Yeah, then you put the card, you're paying. Yeah, you see. Then when you get up, so into another things. Then when it's your birthday, it's just a formal thing. It's happy birthday. Isn't that what the world has become? Cold, transactional relationships. That's why we have a lot of brokenness, mental breakdown, emotional breakdown, breakdown, moral degradation, because of that lack of. And every time we have that, now we need to go back to rediscover what is the problem. Now, I've talked about relationships. It could be a problem in finance, it could be a problem mentally, it could be a problem. You understand? And that's how you should deal with all these aspects. That's why I say here, build beyond you. We help you align that identity. Get out of this alignment survival mode to identity alignment, to building systems and structures across all areas of your life. Then lead without emotional instability. Emotional instability is what gets you into transactional relationships. I come, I trust you with my whole heart. And what do? You get it and you put it on the floor and you crush it with your foot. Now, when you break me, then I also go, I don't break another person, but I withhold. And the other person doesn't benefit. And then the cycle keeps continuing the whole. And before you know it, you have zombies moving around. Transactional relationships. How about you go back to real? That's why, for you to go back to the real, you need to go to God and He shows you this relationship, yes, this relationship, no. But the first relationship is Him. What others meant as rejection became an opportunity for deeper revelation for the blind man. And when God finds you, your brokenness, when He leave alone these things of saying, I'm fine. That's also pride. I'm okay. Yeah, I'll be fine. No, you're rejecting help, you're refusing help, you're sabotaging yourself. But when you are vulnerable enough to humble yourself and say, if God finds you in your brokenness, I'm telling you, your healing is going to become more than a testimony. It becomes a relationship. And it becomes, you see, what happens with a relationship is like a tree that you put one seed in the ground and then the tree grows, it gets up, pew, and you start seeing mangoes. Now, you pluck off the first season, you eat all of them. Not so. You come back to that mango tree again another time. Won't you find the mangoes there in the next season? Why? Because that tree has a relationship with the leaves, the branches, the soil, the water, the whole ecosystem of the sun, everything. So it keeps bearing fruit. So when you have a relationship, you keep bearing fruit. It becomes tastier, sweeter, very consistent, but sweet. The same, but sweet. But where does it start from? Humility. I am broken. I need help. When you refuse to ask because you fear, you are not being humble. That's false humility. You're allowing fear to be in control. You're worshiping that spirit. It becomes your master. When this relationship is established, transformation is complete. So, I need you. Why did this happen to me? I need you to come out of that. Identify one rejection, disappointment, or closed door that you have been carrying. And ask yourself, what is God trying to reveal to me through this experience? Tomorrow we're going to have a Q&A. If you carry out these assignments, it will help you. Okay? Spend time, some prayer and reflection, because some of these things require different answers, not from your head. Show Him, ask Him to show you or lead you to the next. Give me the strategy for the next level. What do I need to do? What man throws out? still finds. What man rejects, God still restores. What God restores can never remain the same. As simple as that. So, sometimes you withhold, like coming to you thinking I'm disturbing you. But of all people, it would not have been your grace. No. No. Yesterday, I said the same thing. Come to my inbox. Okay? Ask me any question. My second name is Clarity. Use my gift when you still can. I also found out that I had that gift. Just like you've also found out different gifts in your journey, right? So why don't you use it when you still can? When I drop dead tomorrow, what will you say? I'm not saying I'm the only one who can give clarity, but I'm just saying when you get to know who you are, someone doesn't even need to tell you because you know where you go to know that information from. So even you, when we say being resourceful, who do we all call? All of you can even mention before I mention. We all say Kezi. You ask Kezi, she'll get that one for us. Because that's Kezi. Her second name is resourceful. We want to be able to be identified by some of these things. Okay? So when we call you Brenda, what do we say? When we are thinking of this, who do we go to? See, the same applies to you. Become the theater of your own gifts, talents, blessings, opportunities. That's how opportunities don't miss you. They come to you because that one don't bother. That one, just call Mia. She'll sort us out in that area. Because that's what Mia has displayed continually. Now, do you understand what I mean? Especially now that we're in a community. We first start within our community to market each other. It doesn't have to be transactional. I'm here and we are learning. Okay? It doesn't have to be transactional. It can be a relationship. We just want to restore some little bit of sanity. We just want to be in an environment where you can breathe, where there are human beings. Not where you know someone is like this because you're paying a check. Or because there's something that they're benefiting from you. And if it's done, you discard it like a piece of crap. Thrown out. Thank you very much, Juliet. Meanwhile, they're telling Grace, she knows. I'm wondering why she's even saying that. So, unless any of you has something to say, tomorrow we have another class. And the class is the Q&A. I want you to go back to all the lessons. They're on YouTube. You can't say, I don't know where they are. Okay, they're a bit long, but I want you to go back to your notebooks where you've been writing your reflection questions and start carrying out these analyses. What do I need to do? Okay? So unless anybody has anything to say, I think I would like to close the class till tomorrow. In our Q&A, I'll be waiting for you. You're welcome, Casey. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'm glad that you're here. And I guess I'll see you tomorrow. Shalom, shalom. Shalom, shalom. Thank you so much, guys, for being here, and see you tomorrow. We finished our series for the case study that we had that takes us through the transformation process. Let's see where God is going to lead us, what He's going to tell us to do in terms of the journey that we are taking, understanding, especially the transformation process. Okay, so far we've had 2 case studies. Madam Resourceful says bye bye. Ah, good, you see? You're embracing it. That's nice. That's very nice. And some of these things, like I said, you find out along the way. People are the ones who tell you. People are the ones who tell you, Kezi, please send for us the title. Kezi. And at that particular time, God wanted Kezi to know what He placed in her in relation to identity. So she acted and He answered. You see, He doesn't confirm to you before you show what you can do. So don't withhold. Do. And let Him reveal you, announce you, direct you, guide you. Okay? Okay, have a good, beautiful, good afternoon and see you tomorrow. Okay, guys? Oh, thank you, Juliet. And God bless you too. Have a beautiful, beautiful afternoon and evening and see you tomorrow in the Q&A. Come ready to answer the question. Don't say, I don't know, I didn't know, I didn't. Okay, bye, guys. Bye-bye.